Chapter 79. Seffi. It took a while before I heard the strange tip-tapping at my window, and once I was conscious of it, I instinctively knew that it had been going on for a while. Not bothering to wipe my face, I headed for my window and opened it. Tiny stones lay at my feet. Callum in our back garden. I leaned over my balcony and saw him at once. "What?" I lowered my voice. "What are you doing here?" "I need to see you." "I'll come down." "No, I'll come up." I looked around anxiously. "Okay, but be quick." "How do I get up there?" "Just a sec. Can you climb up the drain pipe and use the ivy for footholds?" "I'll break my neck." "Hang on, I'll tie some sheets together then." "No, don't bother." Without another word, Callum climbed up the drain pipes and the ivy, reaching my balcony in about 10 seconds flat. My heart leapt up into my throat as I watched him. If he fell now. The moment he reached my balcony, I hauled him over, terrified he'd plummet to his death. "Did you phone me? I didn't hear your signal," I told Callum, confused. "I didn't phone, I came straight here," Callum replied. I hid in the rose garden until the coast was clear. We stood in the middle of my room. He looked at me, and I looked at him, and all the events of our lifetimes finally caught up with us. I wanted to say sorry for everything that had happened to his dad, sorry for everything that was still happening, but even in my head the words sounded trite and totally inadequate. Better to say nothing. Safer. And I could forget the way he'd looked at me as the prison clock struck. I was the first to look away. I'd known Callum all my life, and yet I felt as if we'd only just met. Is there anything I can do? Or maybe I'd done enough. Me, and my kind. I risked a glance at Callum. He didn't answer. He just watched me. "How's your mum?" Stupid question. "Is she still staying with relatives or friends? She's at my aunt's house," Callum replied. I looked around my room. Should I sit or stand? What should I say? What should I do? Inside, I was beginning to panic. I ran to lock the door. The last thing either of us needed was to have my mother or sister enter the room. Sighing with relief at the click of the key in the lock, I turned, only to bump straight into Callum. Dazed, I looked up at him. I thought you were going to get help," Callum told me. I shook my head, shocked. Why would he think such a thing? "Listen, if I wanted to get help, you wouldn't have made it to my bedroom window," I told him. But he was hardly listening. He just kept staring at me, his expression freezing by degrees. "Callum, your father must be so proud of himself." Callum's eyes narrowed. "An innocent man is going to rot in prison, and just like that his political reputation is restored." "No," I whispered. "It wasn't like that." But it was, and we both knew it. Is this the way it's going to be from now on? Whenever a politician is in trouble in the polls, if they can't start a war, they'll just search out the nearest nought to imprison, or hang, or both. I didn't take my eyes off Callum's face. Out at the corner of my eye I saw him slowly clenching and unclenching his fists. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I hardly dared to breathe. Callum was hurting so much, it was tearing him up inside, and he wanted to hurt someone. "And what about you, Seffi?" he asked. What about me?" I whispered. "No more you and me, I take it," Callum said with contempt. "After all, you wouldn't want to ruin your future career prospects by being spotted with the son of the Dundale bomber." "I know your dad didn't do it." "Oh yes? Well, so did the jury, for all the difference it makes." Do you know how long they deliberated? 1 hour. 1 lousy, stinking hour. His head slumped in despair. "Callum, I'm so sorry." I touched his cheek. His head shot up. He glared at me with white, hot, burning hatred. My hand fell quickly to my side. "I don't want your ruddy pity," he shouted. "Shh! I pleaded, glancing at my bedroom door. Why should I? Callum challenged. Don't you want anyone to know you've got a blanket in your room? Callum, don't. I didn't even realise I was crying until a salt tear ran into the corner of my mouth. I want to smash you and every other dagger who crosses my path. I hate you so much it scares me, he told me. I know you do, I whispered. You've hated me ever since you joined Heathcote and I called you a bunker. I realised it as I said it, and in that moment I realised a lot of things, including why I'd started knocking back wine. And you've hated me for turning my back on you at school and not being there when you needed me, said Callum. I didn't deny it. So why are we still together? Callum spoke softly to himself, almost forgetting that I was right in front of him. Why do I still think of you as your best friend? I supplied. Because you know that's how I think of you. Because I love you. And you love me, I think. My words snapped Callum out of his reverie with a vengeance. A hard, mocking look flashed over his face. I waited for him to do something. Lash out, deny it, leave, anything. But he didn't. Did you hear what I said? I tried again. I love you. Love doesn't exist. Friendship doesn't exist. Not between a Nought and a Cross. There's no such thing, Callum replied. And he meant every word. Then what are you doing in my room? I asked, choking inside. Why did you come? Callum shrugged. Damned if I know. With a sigh, I moved over to the bed and sat down. After a moment's hesitation, Callum came and sat down beside me. I can't remember either of us feeling more awkward. I struggled desperately to find something to say. Risking a glance in Callum's direction, I saw at once from the look on his face he was having exactly the same problem. I had so many things I wanted to tell him. The words tumbled and jumbled around in my head, making me dizzy, but nothing would come out. I turned to Callum and slowly held my arms out towards him. He looked puzzled, and then his expression cleared. He watched me intently. My gaze dropped. Another of my stupid ideas. I started to lower my arms. Taking hold of my hands, he shuffled along the bed towards me. Wrapping his arms around me, he lay down on the duvet cover, taking me with him. We faced each other, our eyes locked. I licked my lips nervously. Now what? Callum kissed me, and I kissed him back. We were comforting kissing, that's all. We wrapped our arms around each other for solace, bear hugging, squeezing the light out to each other as if we were trying to merge together. When at last we loosened our grip, in a strange way we were both more calm, physically at least, not mentally. Turn around, Callum whispered. I was about to argue, but then I thought better of it. I did as I was asked. He wrapped his arms around me. We were cuddled up like a couple of spoons in a cutlery drawer. I toyed with the idea of suggesting that we get under the covers, but I decided not to push it. I didn't want to give Callum a reason to panic and leave. Maybe there was some way to suggest it gently? I raised an eyebrow. Gently? Yeah, right. But it would have been wonderful. Just Callum and me locked together, looking at the whole world. Bliss. But one step at a time. And besides, what we were doing now wasn't too shabby. Better settle for this than his hatred. Better this than nothing at all. Callum sighed. I shuffled back to get close to him. I felt him relax, his warm body against mine. My sigh echoed his. Are you okay? His breath was warm and soft in my ear. Uh-huh, I mumbled. I'm not squashing you. Uh-uh. You sure? Callum, shut up. I felt, rather than saw, his smile. His first smile in a long while, I think. Don't leave without giving me your new address and the phone number, I murmured. I don't want to lose you again. I don't even know if he heard me, and I was too comforted to find out. Then I thought of something else, something which struggled through my lethargic haze, something that had been troubling me for a while now. "Callum," I whispered, "I'm sorry I sat at your table." "What are you talking about?" "Your table, at school," I said sleepily. "And I'm sorry for what happened at the next funeral. And sorry for all the million and other well-meant but badly thought-out things I'd done in my life. Acts to make me feel better, actions that had hurt Callum rather than helped him. Sorry, Callum. Sorry. Sorry." "Forget it, I have." Callum's warm breath whispered across my cheek before he kissed it. I closed my eyes and allowed my mind to drift away. I was cuddled up with Callum, and for once, this time, was ours and no one else's. With that thought in my mind, I drifted off to sleep, with Callum still holding me.